There is a reason your grandmother never let a home sit without a plant near its door. Long before banks kept our savings, and long before anyone spoke of investments, families across every culture on Earth believed something quieter carried its own kind of wealth, something living, something green, something planted with intention near the threshold of a home. They did not call it luck. They called it care. Today, in homes across America, that old belief is quietly returning, not as superstition, but as something wiser. Generations understood before we grew too busy to remember it. This season, growers in their 50s and 60s are rediscovering 18 plants their own parents and grandparents trusted to invite abundance, protection, and prosperity into the place they called home. Stay with me. Plant number 1 is the one almost every tradition on Earth agrees on, and it may already be sitting quietly in your living room, waiting for you to finally understand why it was ever given to you in the first place. Plant number 1, money tree. In homes across Asia and now increasingly across America, this is the plant families give to someone beginning something entirely new. It is rarely bought for oneself. It is given the way you would hand someone a blessing. Its trunk braided by hand while still young, woven the way a mother might braid a daughter's hair before sending her into the world alone. Feng Shui tradition holds that its 5 leaves, often grown on a single stem, represent the 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, water. When all 5 appear together, generations have believed prosperity flows through a household freely, never forced, only invited. Chinese households have kept this braided trunk nearest the entrance for centuries, where wealth was believed to first arrive. Most new growers make one mistake, placing it in a cold draft near the door, mistaking exposure for protection. One harsh winter in that spot, and the leaves drop fast, taking whatever fortune the tree was meant to hold. A tree that can live for decades, growing thicker and more twisted with age, mirrors in tradition the very fortune it is believed to hold. But the money tree's gift is slow and stately. The plant waiting next works quietly instead. Its round, coin-shaped leaves, said to draw wealth in far faster. And somewhere in this video is the story of a young couple in Ohio who moved into their first home with almost nothing but each other. That story is coming. Keep watching. Plant number 2, jade plant. Long before it earned the name money tree in its own right, this was simply the very plant every grandmother kept. Thickest and fullest by her window, watching it grow the way she watched her own savings grow, slow, steady, and certain. Its trunk thickens with age, the way trust does, one patient season at a time, until it stands as solid as the family that raised it. In Chinese tradition, jade plant is placed near a home's entrance. Its rounded leaves said to hold the shape of coins waiting to multiply. Many households position it where evening light lingers longest, believing prosperity settles wherever light stays, given to mark a new job or a new chapter. It has become a quiet ritual of good faith between families. Most new growers make one mistake, overwatering it out of love, when this plant actually thrives on being nearly forgotten. Too much care, ironically, is what kills the very fortune it was meant to hold. Plant that can live for decades, growing thicker and more tree-like each year, was never meant to be flashy. Its wealth was always meant to be steady. But not every tradition believed prosperity should grow slowly. The plant coming next was chosen for the opposite reason, for how fast and how visibly its fortune was said to multiply. Plant number 3, lucky bamboo. In Chinese tradition, no plant is gifted, more often to mark a beginning, a new home, a new marriage, a new business, opening its doors for the very first time. It carries no soil, no fanfare, just a few stalks rising quietly out of water alone, and somehow that simplicity has always felt like proof that fortune does not need very much at all to take root. and grow. Tradition holds that the number of stalks changes the blessing. 3. Stalks for happiness, 5 for wealth, 7 for health, and the counting continues in nearly every household that keeps one. Arranged in odd numbers and tied with red ribbon, it is believed to draw positive energy inward, while pushing anything negative back out the door. Given more often as a gift than almost any other plant here, its meaning has always mattered as much as its shape. Most new growers make one mistake, placing it in direct sun, scorching the stalks meant to carry good fortune. Plant given more as a gift than almost any other, because what it symbolizes has always mattered as much as what it grows into. But bamboo's fortune is delicate, tied to water and ribbon. Plant coming next needed no ceremony at all, its leaves alone, heart-shaped and climbing toward any. Plant number 4, golden pothos. Nurses and grandmothers alike have called it by a dozen different names over the decades, but in many households across many cultures, it has only ever carried one true meaning: the plant that refuses to die, no matter how badly it is neglected. And so, in tradition, the very plant believed to make sure the money already inside a home refuses to run out either, no matter how hard the season. Traditionally trained to climb rather than trail, golden pothos is believed to draw wealth upward the same way its vines reach toward a window or a shelf. Feng Shui practitioners often place it in the southeast corner of a home, the direction long associated with abundance in that tradition. Its heart-shaped leaves, some believe, quietly remind a household what all that climbing is meant to be for. Most new growers make one mistake: trimming it back too aggressively, mistaking growth for mess. Left to climb freely, its vines are said to carry fortune with them, a vine that climbs toward whatever light it can find, believed by tradition to pull a household's fortune upward right along with it. But pothos grows in shadow just as easily as sunlight. The plant coming next demands something rarer: round leaves shaped like coins themselves, said to carry wealth, not in metaphor, but almost in likeness. Plant number 5, Chinese money plant. It's perfectly round, coin-shaped. Leaves are almost too on the nose to be coincidence, and generations of growers have never quite believed that it was either. Often shared as small pups pulled gently from a single mother plant and passed hand to hand between friends and neighbors, it has become, in most households, less a pommel purchase and more an inheritance quietly handed down from one generation to the next. Native to southern China, this plant was traditionally given to new business owners on their opening day, believed to invite customers and money through the door in equal measure. Its round leaves are said to represent coins multiplying the longer the plant is kept alive and cared for. Feng Shui tradition places it near a cash register or a home's main entrance, wherever money is expected to pass through most often. Most new growers make one mistake: keeping it too far from natural light, and leaves curl inward, losing the coin. Like shape, the entire belief depends on. Plant multiplied so easily from its own pups that no household ever needed to buy a second one. They simply received it, the way fortune itself was believed to arrive. Not every tradition trusted round leaves alone to carry that meaning. Plant coming next carried its reputation somewhere else entirely, in a bloom so admired it was once reserved only for royalty. Plant number 6, orchid. For centuries in Chinese and Victorian households alike, this was never treated as an ordinary houseplant. It was a symbol reserved for people of refinement, wealth, and quiet good fortune, displayed in the most visible room of the house, where every guest who entered would notice it first and understand, without being told, what kind of care that household still valued. Traditionally, a healthy, blooming orchid displayed in the home was believed to reflect a family's prosperity back at them. a living proof that they had both the means and the patience to keep something so demanding alive and thriving. In Chinese tradition, orchids are associated with refinement, integrity, and abundance all at once, which is why they were so often exchanged as gifts between people of standing. Most new growers make one mistake, treating it like an ordinary houseplant and watering it on a fixed schedule when orchids actually prefer to dry out almost completely. Between waterings, roots needing air more than water. An orchid given as a gift was never just decoration. It was a quiet declaration of respect, wealth, and good faith between two households. But orchids ask for patience. Few plants demand. The plant coming next offers something far more immediate. Blooms so vivid, so relentless, that entire doorways have been planted with nothing else for generations. Earlier at the start of this video, I mentioned a young couple in Ohio. This is that story. They had almost nothing that first year, just second-hand furniture and a small money tree from her mother. But every season after, they added one more plant. Her mother had once grown herself, each one arriving quietly and exactly when it was needed most. 5 years later, their small apartment shelf had quietly become a home, filled floor to ceiling with plants passed down, gifted, and grown from cuttings of cuttings, each one carrying a small piece of the family that gave it away, season after season. This next plant is not in any catalog, not on any nursery shelf. It exists on this list only because you stayed. Plant number 7, peony. In Chinese tradition, this flower was never simply beautiful. It was called the king of flowers, planted near the homes of families who wanted their prosperity to be seen as well as felt. Its enormous blooms treated almost like an announcement to every neighbor passing by that this household, this year, traditionally planted near a home's main entrance, peonies were believed to invite honor, prosperity, and a good marriage to whoever tended them faithfully year after year. Their brief but spectacular bloom each spring was seen as a reminder that abundance, however fleeting, was always worth the wait. Most new growers make one mistake, panicking over the ants that gather on unopened buds and reaching for pesticide, when those ants are actually helping the bloom open, drawn by the sweet nectar the bud produces. A flower so admired it once quietly decided which household in the village looked most prosperous that season. But peonies bloom only once a year, and then wait patiently for spring to return. The plant coming next offers something far rarer. Fruit and fragrance together, believed for centuries. Plant number 8, dwarf lemon. In many Mediterranean and Asian households alike, a fruiting citrus tree near the home was never viewed as ordinary landscaping. It was viewed as visible proof, ripening slowly in plain sight for every guest to see that a family's abundance was real, was growing, and was theirs to keep harvesting for many seasons still to come. In Chinese tradition, citrus trees are given during the new year, specifically because their fruit is round, golden, and abundant, a living symbol placed near the entrance so that wealth is reminded daily, exactly where it is meant to enter. Some households once gifted a small potted citrus to newly married couples for this very reason. Most new growers make one mistake, bringing it indoors too early each fall before it has had its full share of autumn sun, and the fruit that year comes in small and sour instead of full and sweet. A tree that offers proof you can hold in your hand, season after season, that something planted with care truly can multiply. But not every tradition believed abundance had to be this slow to arrive. The plant coming next was trusted for something far quicker, a fragrance believed to invite guests and good fortune before either one even reaches the door. Plant number 9, basil. Long before it became a kitchen staple, several Mediterranean and South Asian traditions alike kept it planted near the entrance for an entirely different reason, believing its fragrance alone was strong enough to invite prosperity into the home while quietly turning misfortune back the way it had come, one breath of scent at a time. In several traditions, a thriving basil plant near the kitchen was believed to keep a household's finances just as healthy as the plant itself. Its constant new growth mirrored in folklore by a family's constant and steady income. Growers were taught to pinch the leaves regularly, believing a basil plant that was harvested often grew back fuller, faster, and more fragrant than one left untouched. Most new growers make one mistake, letting it flower too soon, which turns the leaves bitter and slows the very growth the tradition depends on. Plant so ordinary, it sits in nearly every kitchen, and yet in tradition, so trusted it was believed to keep an entire household fed and fortunate at once. But basil stays low, close to the counter, close to the ground. The plant coming next was chosen for the opposite reason, tall enough to fill a room and trusted for exactly that presence. Plant number 10, bamboo palm. Its tall, gently arching fronds have long filled the empty corners of a home the way a trusted guest fills an empty chair, and in several feng shui traditions, that presence alone was believed to soften hard angles and invite steady, gentle fortune into rooms. In feng shui tradition, the bamboo palm is believed to purify the energy of a room while softening any harsh or stagnant corners where fortune was thought to struggle to circulate. Its graceful height made it a favorite in entryways and living rooms, where its presence was said to welcome guests and prosperity with equal warmth. Most new growers make one mistake, placing it in a drafty spot near an air vent, and the frond tips brown, crisp, long before the plant itself ever gets the chance to fill the room the way it should. A plant tall enough to fill an entire room, and in tradition, gentle enough to soften every hard corner it stands beside. But not every plant on this list needs a corner of its own to matter. The one coming next prefers to climb instead, quietly wrapping its way around whatever it is trusted to. Hold on to plant number 11, ivy. In old European tradition, this was never simply a climbing vine left to wander wherever it pleased. It was trained deliberately along walls and door frames, believed to bind good fortune to a home, the same patient way its own tendrils bound themselves to brick and wood, holding on tighter with every season that quietly passed it by. Traditionally grown along the entrance of a home, ivy was believed to protect a household's fortune by literally holding the structure together. Its roots said to strengthen whatever it clung to rather than weaken it. Given as a wedding gift in some cultures, a shared cutting symbolized two families now growing fortunes together, intertwined the way the vine itself grows. Most new growers make one mistake, letting it climb unchecked onto wood siding where it can trap moisture instead of protecting what it holds. A vine trusted for centuries to hold a family's fortune the same patient way it holds onto brick and wood, tighter with every year that passes. But ivy climbs quietly, in shade, in green alone. The plant coming next was chosen for the opposite reason entirely, for turning its face toward the sun. Plant number 12, sunflower. Few plants on this list announce themselves the way this one does, and in several traditions, that boldness was never accidental. A flower that turns its entire face to follow the sun across the sky was believed to teach a household something honest about fortune itself, that it must be faced directly, never avoided, never hidden from, to ever truly be found. In several folk traditions, sunflowers planted near the home were believed to draw vitality and abundance in with every hour of sunlight they gathered, their seeds later saved and replanted as a quiet act of faith in the seasons still to come. Farmers once read a strong sunflower crop as a sign the whole household's fortune was turning upward with it. Most new growers make one mistake, planting them too close together, and the crowded stalks compete for light, growing tall but producing far fewer of the very seeds the tradition depends on. A flower bold enough to follow the sun all day, every single day, without once turning away from it out of fear. But sunflowers bloom loud for one season, then quietly disappear until next year. The plant coming next was chosen for the opposite reason. Smaller blooms, but ones trusted to return faithfully, autumn after autumn. Plant number 13, chrysanthemum. In several Asian traditions, this flower was never associated with the fading of a season, the way autumn blooms often are treated elsewhere. It was celebrated instead as a symbol of longevity, joy, and a household's fortune finally settling in comfortably for the long, quiet winter that lay ahead of it. In Chinese tradition, the chrysanthemum is one of the four noble flowers, believed to bring good fortune and long life to any household that displayed it proudly through the autumn months. Placed near an entrance during harvest season, it was thought to carry the last of the year's abundance safely indoors before winter arrived. Most new growers make one mistake, treating it as a one-season throwaway bloom when many varieties are perennial and will return reliably for years if simply left in the ground. A flower trusted to carry a household's fortune safely through the last stretch of the year, faithfully, season after season. But chrysanthemums bloom softly, gently, without much fanfare at all. The plant coming next was chosen for exactly the opposite reason, for standing guard as boldly and as visibly as any flower on this entire list. Plant number 14, marigold. Its bright orange and gold blooms were never planted for color alone in most traditions. They were planted as a boundary, a wall of warmth between a home and anything that did not belong. They're trusted to stand faithfully at the very edge of the property, traditionally planted along doorways and garden borders alike. Marigold is believed in many cultures to repel negativity while quietly drawing prosperity in behind it. Two directional guardians standing at every threshold it was given. Its seeds were often saved by hand each fall, believed to carry that same protection forward into the following seasons. Planting. Most new growers make one mistake, deadheading the blooms too aggressively, removing the very seed heads that keep the tradition and the garden going. Few plants have been trusted at more thresholds in more countries across more centuries than this one. But marigolds guard from the outside, standing at the edge of a property. The plant coming next was trusted for something gentler, for what it was believed to bring quietly into the very rooms where a family actually lives. Plant number 15, bird's nest fern. Its wide, wavy fronds curl inward, toward the center, the way cupped hands curl gently around something precious being protected, and in several tropical households, that very shape was believed to gather and hold a family's good fortune close, rather than let it drift carelessly out the door and away. In Southeast Asian tradition, this fern's nest-like center was seen as a quiet symbol of a household gathering and protecting what it had built, rather than letting it scatter carelessly away. Kept in humid, low light corners where few other plants could ever survive, it became a favorite among growers who wanted good fortune, reaching even the corners the sun rarely touched. Most new growers make one mistake, placing it in direct sunlight, scorching the delicate fronds this entire tradition depends on. Staying whole. Plant that asks for nothing but shade and gives back. In tradition, fortune gathered close and never once let go. But the fern stays low, tucked quietly into shaded corners. The plant coming next grows tall and wide instead, trusted for generations to fill an entire room the way old. Plant number 16, ficus. In many households, this tree was never bought to fill an empty corner temporarily. It was bought to stay, to grow slowly alongside the family for decades to come. Its size and permanence becoming, in tradition, a quiet reflection of how settled and how secure. In feng shui tradition, The ficus is believed to purify a home's energy, while its steady, upward growth mirrors the steady growth of a family's fortune, one glossy new leaf at a time. Kept in the same spot for years, it was thought to grow more powerful the longer it remained undisturbed in a household that trusted it. Most new growers make one mistake: moving it too often between rooms, and the shock drops leaves fast, unsettling the very stability the tree is meant to represent. A tree that grows slowly, steadily, undisturbed for years, and in tradition, grows a family's fortune right alongside it. But the ficus keeps its color to a single, quiet green. The plant coming next was trusted for the opposite reason entirely, for blooms so vivid they were once believed. Plant number 17, hibiscus. In several Pacific and Asian traditions, a single bloom this vivid was never treated as ordinary color in the garden. It was treated as a signal, planted where morning light would strike it, first believed to summon good fortune, the way a bright flag summons attention from anyone passing near the home each day. In Hawaiian and several South Asian traditions alike, a red hibiscus bloom was believed to carry vitality and prosperity into any space it touched, often worn or offered as a gesture of welcome and goodwill between neighbors. Planted facing east, it was thought to greet the day's first fortune before anything else in the garden had the chance to. Most new growers make one mistake: pruning it too heavily in fall, cutting away the very wood next season's earliest blooms depend on. A bloom so vivid it was believed to summon fortune by color alone, the way a signal fire draws every eye toward it. But hibiscus fades each evening, only to bloom fresh again by morning. The plant closing this list was chosen for the opposite reason entirely: for blooms so slow, so patient, they were trusted to outlive the very households that first planted them. Plant number 18, camellia. Closing this list the way many of the oldest traditions close their gardens, not with something loud, but with something built to genuinely last. A shrub so slow-growing and long-lived that in several East Asian traditions, it was planted specifically to outlast the very generation that first put it carefully into the ground. In Japanese and Chinese tradition alike, the camellia was treasured for, blooming through the coldest months when almost nothing else in the garden dared to. Its resilience read as proof that a household's fortune could survive even the harshest season. Planted near a home's entrance, it was believed to greet winter guests with quiet elegance and lasting goodwill. Most new growers make one mistake: planting it in full afternoon sun, scorching the very blooms that were meant to prove its patience. 18 plants, 18 traditions, one shared belief passed quietly down through every generation before ours, that a home cared for, patiently and faithfully, season after season, year after year, is a home that fortune eventually always finds its way back to, no matter how long it takes to arrive. Before we close, 3 things worth remembering. First, in nearly every tradition on this list, placement mattered as much as the plant itself. Near the door, near the window, near wherever fortune was believed to enter a home. Second, care mattered just as much. Never considered a strong symbol in any tradition. It had to be tended, the way you would tend anything you trusted to hold something valuable for you. And third, many of these traditions overlap for a reason. When cultures, thousands of miles apart with no contact with one another independently, trusted the same handful of plants to invite prosperity, that is not coincidence. That is generations of quiet observation passed down long before anyone needed science to explain why it worked. Here is exactly where to begin based on your zone. Right now, here is exactly where to begin. Zone to plants to belief. If you live in zones 3 through 7, start with what survives your winters. Honestly, jade plant, ivy, marigold, chrysanthemum, and peony. each one carrying its full tradition intact through frost, snow, and every hard season your zone throws at it, without complaint. If you live in zones 8 through 9, you have more freedom, but urgency still matters here. Many of tonight's plants, dwarf lemon, hibiscus, bamboo palm, are best started now, before the growing window narrows and leaves you waiting a full year. Your first bloom or your first fruit held off. If even one of these 18 plants reminded you of your own grandmother's home, or a windowsill you grew up beside without ever knowing why it truly mattered, take a moment and like this video. It helps more families rediscover what generations before us already quietly, faithfully knew. And tell me in the comments, which one of these 18 already lives in your home right now? If this kind of quiet wisdom means something to you, subscribe to Plant ER Lab. We bring knowledge like this, tended and gathered patiently, like these plants themselves, every single week, without fail.